Today, I want to talk about personality change that happens when you get sober. So welcome back, everybody. Recovering Out Loud. Anthony, alcoholic addict. I think I'm this sort of person. When I'm using and I'm drinking out there, alcohol and drugs gave me a personality. It took away my fear. It took away my emotions. I always talk about this, but I felt more confident when I would walk into a room and I was high or drunk. I felt like I could connect with the people in the room. I could open up more. I could tell funnier jokes. I could dance. I just fit in. Nobody was laughing at me or looking at me or wondering about me. No one was talking about me. All these things, these thoughts in my head would shut off when I would use and drink. And so there's a personality change that I'm chasing here when I'm using. I don't like sitting with myself sober. So I use these substances, coke, alcohol, meth, to fit in, to feel a part of, to feel connection. As we know, the opposite of addiction is connection. Now, when I come into recovery, I need to learn who the fuck I am, first of all, and then I need to love that true self. I need to understand all the inadequacies, all the twerps, the things that I do, the idiosyncrasies, the little things that drive me, the things that bother me, and so that I can sit with them and be comfortable, be okay in my own skin without needing to take a drink. I can build a life so big I don't need to escape from. That's what I'm going to talk about in today's episode, is this personality change that sobriety takes away. It took away from me, and what I replaced it with. Why getting sober made me feel like a worse version of myself at first. Getting through that hump, that hard beginning spot. Most people expect sobriety to make them feel more like themselves. I'm going to unpeel the layers of the onion to realize who I am. And I'm going to get sober and I'm going to be more calm. I'm going to be more free. I'm going to be more confident. The real version, finally. What actually happens, and what nobody really warns you about, is that the first thing sobriety did was introduce me to all of this identity that I didn't recognize, I was uncomfortable with. Because let's be honest, the moment you start using or drinking in a problematic manner, abusing, whatever, you're in that cycle of addiction. The moment we start to get into that, we stop aging, we stop growing emotionally, we stay stagnant, and we stop growing, we stop developing as adults. That's why a lot of people, you'll hear them say when they come in, I'm 2 years old, because it feels like that. It feels like I'm a child when I first come in. My emotions are raw. I want to cry all the time. I'm really concerned and worried about what people are thinking of me too much, to the fact that I isolate and I get myself away from situations. I say no to things because I'm uncomfortable in my own skin, and I don't know how to behave without a drink in my hand or a drug in my body. So this version of myself that I didn't recognize, he had opinions. He was uncomfortable in rooms, a lot of rooms. He didn't laugh at things that weren't funny. He took up space in a way drinking me never did. I took up a lot of space. I felt like a burden a lot of the times when I was first coming in. And not in a way people always liked, right? When you act more like yourself, you pull in more the true version of yourself. You pull in more people, but you're going to push away a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people that are uncomfortable with your type of personality, and your people will eventually find you. I always say this, but if you stay sober long enough, you're going to find a group of people that are right for you, that fit your mold, that are like your personality for who you are. When I'm drinking and using, I can be a chameleon, man. I fit into any room. I fit into any group. I feel a part of anything, because I don't have morals or boundaries, or none of that matters. I just say yes to things, and I want you to like me. So I'll do whatever it takes for you to like me. I present my stage character. So I spent months thinking that something had gone wrong when I first got sober, because I didn't like this version of myself. I didn't recognize this version of myself. Nothing had gone wrong. What I thought was my personality, it wasn't. And this episode is about what I found underneath and how I found it and what it cost me to find it. So again, this episode is, as with all my episodes, it's lived experience. I'm not preaching from a mountaintop. I'm not telling anyone this is how they should recover. Recovery is a very personal journey. This is just my personal experience. So take what you like and leave the rest. Look for the similarities in my story, my experience, and not the differences. Look for the similarities. That'll help you a lot in all recovery spaces. So this episode is for two groups: the newly sober, who are starting to notice their real personality and don't like what they're seeing. And that's okay. I didn't like what I was seeing at first. It's ugly. It's uncomfortable. I was covering it with drugs and alcohol for a long time. Now I got to put up with me. Oh my God. I was escaping this guy for so long. Alan Watts always says that, is that addicts and alcoholics use and drink to escape themselves, not to escape the world, but to escape themselves. That hits me when I hear that. So first group is the newly sober, like I said, and then the second group of people is the long-term sober, especially the dry drunks who never clocked this because they white-knuckled past it, or they just ignored it, or they're not aware. The promise here is that this is going to be reflection first, then practical. So it's not a framework, not a method. It's what I actually do. And if you don't know me, quickly, I'll tell you, I had 7.5 years. I've been in recovery since 2015. I had 7.5 years and I relapsed on secrets and ADHD medication and steroids. And I'm back now. I came back into recovery in 2025 of January. I have about 1.5 years now. And I do this stuff because I like doing it. It keeps me sober. And I know, God knows, I'm always looking for more recovery information. So hopefully this episode helps you understand the personality change that comes with getting sober, that also comes with drinking and drugging, and how to find that true self and love that true self. Because that's the ultimate goal in life here. How do I love myself, find my true self, and love my true self? So we've all probably had this feeling where you're out at a social event, you're in a room full of people. Maybe you're not friends with everybody there and you feel uncomfortable. Those thoughts are of people are looking at me, people are judging me, people are making me feel uncomfortable. I don't like this. And this is sort of when we have the realization that, wow, I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of things that I don't like about myself. There's a lot of anger coming up. And in early recovery, if you don't have that time gap between when the thought comes and when the action comes, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to piss a lot of people off because you're going to share some opinions that people would rather not hear. You're going to freak out and act on anger and other defects of character when you wish you hadn't. You wish you had stayed silent instead. This is where meditation comes in and allows us to realize those emotions and thoughts coming up before we act on them. So there's been times in my recovery where I've literally caught myself in mid-performance. The laugh was already out of my brain registered it wasn't funny. I'm just people pleasing. I'm wanting to fit in. I'm dishonest. I want you to like me. There's a split second of dual awareness here where you're knowing you're doing it and you're unable to stop it. Has anyone ever had that? Where you're getting angry at your wife or your husband and you see yourself getting angry, you're feeling this anger come out and you'd rather not be doing this, but you're doing it anyways because it's just that quick second where it just comes out and you're acting on your defective character. It's the vertigo of losing your own opinion in real time. You're just people pleasing, you're fitting in. Then what happens is a couple weeks go by and you can't stop noticing the pattern. I start to notice this pattern. I'm getting really angry at people that are not following the social rule. For me, I'm feeling like when somebody doesn't hold the elevator or respect the space at home in my building, it really bothers me. I really want to say something. When the guy is riding his bike on the sidewalk, that really pisses me off, and it doesn't piss anyone else off. Before, those things used to not bother me at all. Now they're bothering me. So this isn't new behavior. It has always been there. Sobriety just gave you enough bandwidth to catch it, to realize it, to be aware of it. So what's actually happening here? When you picture yourself at the most comfortable, most social, most at ease in a group, what was actually happening in your body in those few moments? When you're the most comfortable, you're the most at ease, you're the most social, you just feel like you don't have to perform, you just fit in, things are easy, you can let out your personality and be vulnerable. What's happening to your body in those moments? Were you confident or were you anesthetized? Were you numbed? Were you numbing? Alcohol does not make you more confident. It turns down the volume on the part of your brain that's scanning the room for threats. So drugs and alcohol are turning down that part of my brain that are looking for threats, looking for fear, the anxiety, the people are thinking about me. It just turns down the volume knob. And that's why for a long time it worked, because I could go anywhere and have fun. And everywhere was fun because I didn't care. That's also why it's so hard when you come into, like when you're in active addiction at the end, it's so hard for me, I couldn't picture leaving my house without having a drink or a bag on me. That was it. I couldn't leave the house. There was no purpose for me to go out into the world unless I had drugs or alcohol, my safety, my safe substance, my emotional manipulator, if you will. So there's hypervigilance, which is the constant low level awareness of whether the room is happy with you, whether you said the right thing, whether the vibe shifted. Alcohol quiets all of that hyper awareness, that hyper self-consciousness that I always talk about. It's like, I'm always thinking about how I'm acting and I'm very careful. And it's a very exhausting place to be in this sort of state where you're just constantly thinking of what others are thinking of you. instead of just being present in the moment. When it's quiet, you feel free. You feel like yourself, but that's your nervous system on pause, not your personality on display. Alcohol pauses my nervous system. Drugs pause my nervous system. Then there's something that's called a fawn response. So we have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn is the one that a lot of people don't talk about. It's this sort of enmeshment to the threat. So I had a fawn response to drugs for a long time. They were like my best friend. I was attached to them at the hip. They were my God, my higher power. Fawning is when your nervous system's survival strategy is to make the threat comfortable, agree with it, appease it, make it happy so it doesn't hurt you. We do this with drugs a lot. I want to make the threat comfortable. I'm agreeing with it. This isn't that bad. It's not that bad. I like this. We're friends. This is a good thing. Drugs aren't that bad for me, just to justify and keep using. So I'm not sitting here and saying that everyone who people pleases has trauma. I'm saying that this is a concept that helped me understand my own pattern. Take it or leave it, like the rest of this podcast. The question it forced me to ask, though, was my agreeableness a choice, or was it a strategy I had been running so long it stopped feeling like a strategy? So was I agreeing? Was I choosing to be an agreeable person, or was it a strategy I'd been running for so long it stopped feeling like a strategy? Then there's the codependency piece of this. Melody Beattie talks about it. Great book, Codependent No More. Uncomfortable read because I was on most pages. It was me. She was talking about me. The specific thing that hit for me was a lot of what looks like caring about other people is actually managing your own anxiety about whether they're okay with you. So let me read that again. A lot of what looks like caring about other people is actually managing my own anxiety about whether they're okay with me. The checking in that really isn't about them. The keeping the peace that's actually about keeping yourself safe. So to connect it all together, alcohol plus a fawn response nervous system, a lifetime of people pleasing equals a combination that looks from the outside like a great personality. Wow, he's a great guy. He always agrees with everything I say. He laughs at all my jokes. I'm easygoing, low drama, agreeable. He's everybody's friend. But then you take the alcohol or drugs away and the hypervigilance doesn't go away. It gets louder because the medicine is gone and now you've got no volume knob. So all this stuff, I'm constantly thinking about what other people are thinking of me. I'm constantly thinking about did I just say something stupid? Why did I say that? I'm repeating that last joke I said in my head that wasn't funny and it didn't land the way I thought it landed. Now I'm thinking about this the whole dinner and nobody else is thinking about it. Or I'm thinking about it the next day or 2 days or 3 days. It's exhausting. So this is why early sobriety can feel like you got worse at being a person. You didn't get worse. The anesthesia wore off. The medicine wore off. The drugs stopped working because you stopped using them. The work was always going to be here. You just couldn't feel it before. So the identity crisis that nobody names. This is a new territory. It's what separates a dry drunk from somebody actually recovering. The question underneath all of this is, if I'm not an easygoing person, if I'm not the easygoing one, who am I? If the agreeableness wasn't really me, what is? That question sounds philosophical, and it doesn't feel philosophical when you're living it. But think about it for a moment. Like, who am I without alcohol and drugs? Who am I without the substance in my body to protect me from my brain, my emotions, my thoughts, my uncomfortableness, my defects of character, whatever they may be? It feels like standing in a room you've lived in for years and not recognizing any of the furniture. You're like, what's going on here? This is all new to me. I don't get it. What drinking gave you that sobriety takes back? Permission. Permission to be loose, to be loud, to not monitor yourself, to be you. The drink wasn't the thing you were addicted to. The permission was. The relief of not having to be so careful all the time. You can just take your bra off, take your shoes off, relax a little, breathe. That exhale, that's what alcohol and drugs did for me, man. Just allowed me to be myself, allowed me to not monitor anything, to not be aware. And this is why it's so hard when we come into recovery, because how do I do that without substances? How do I accept myself 100% fully as I am in this moment without numbing, without escaping? Sobriety asks you to source that permission internally, and it's hard. This is an inside job. There's nothing out there that's going to fix this. There's no pill, there's no car, there's no money, there's no amount of jobs or financial security that's going to fix this. It's an inside job. It has to be done from within with recovery coping mechanisms and tools and repeated behaviors and practice. It's hard work, but it's so worth it, because then I can go into any room and be confident. I can be comfortable. I can be myself. I can enjoy any scenario because I can let loose and not monitor how I'm interacting in the world, how I'm presenting. I don't care. And it doesn't just go away, but the voice gets quieter and quieter. When I say something that I'm like, oh, that wasn't that funny. Why did I say that? I don't beat myself up about it. I just let it go. Nobody's thinking about it. And if they are, it's their problem, not mine. Let it go. So the dry drunk connection here, this is exactly where a lot of people get stuck. Abstinent technically, but still managing the room, still performing the easygoing version. This is exhausting to not do it without substances. Still laughing at things that weren't funny. I want to fit in. I want to manage my stage character to the world without drugs and alcohol. It's exhausting. Eventually I'm going to be miserable, and then I'm going to relapse. Sobriety without identity work is just white knuckling and better skin. That's it, with better skin. You look better, and now you're just white knuckling through events, through the world. You can be 7 years sober and still people pleasing. I was. It's dishonesty at the end of the day, because I just want to fit in. I don't want you to judge me. I want you to like me. And I'm going to put on this stage character, this mask. I'm going to wear this mask here, and I'm going to wear that mask there so that I can fit into every room and that you will like me. The disorientation is normal. Okay. The version of you that's emerging in sobriety is not finished. It's not fully formed. It takes time. You're going to say things that don't sound like you because you don't know yet what that sounds like. You don't know what you sound like. You don't know what you're still unpeeling the layers of the onion that you packed on using drugs and alcohol for so long. It's a lot of work. It's difficult. That's not a problem. That's the process here. You don't find yourself in sobriety. You build yourself. Slowly, with a lot of awkward trial runs at first. So you're peeling back the layers of the onion, but you're also building new skills and you're learning about what bothers you and what doesn't bother you, and what pisses you off and what drives you, and what you actually care about, what you actually like. You might learn that you actually never liked being in a bar at all, and it was just the alcohol that was making you feel connected. You might learn that you never like a certain type of music or concerts because it was just alcohol that was keeping you comfortable, lubricated socially. So the grief that nobody warns you about is that drunk you was well-liked, genuinely, not performing, actually well-liked. People liked the drunk version of you. At least they did for me. Easygoing, fun, available, down for anything. Nothing bothered me. The one who made every table feel easy. I was the glue of the conversation, or so I thought I was. Towards the end, you become much more quiet and in your head when you're using too much coke. You don't want to talk or do anything. It becomes very uncomfortable. And then you're always paranoid and thinking about things. But in the beginning, it worked. So sober you is more specific, more honest, less available, more likely to say, I'd actually rather not do that. You have boundaries now. You have moral guidelines. Not everyone who liked drinking so not everyone that liked the drinking version of you likes sober you as much. That's why I say you always get new friends. You're going to lose some friends in sobriety because the only thing holding you together was that bag. The only thing that holding you together was the pitcher of beer. The social fallout is some friendships were built on drinking. They don't fit you anymore. Not because anyone is bad, but because the thing that made you so compatible was partly that you never pushed back. You were easygoing. You were just went with the flow and you didn't care about anything. But now those things bother you. It bothers you when somebody makes a slight at you or comments on you or makes you feel less than. Before, I didn't mind. Red flags about people that pissed me off in the past don't piss me off anymore because I'm drunk and I'm high and I don't care about these little things that bother me. The friend who's used to agreeing with everything is going to notice that when you stop. The friction is real. So the friend who's used to you agreeing with everything, being that person, is going to notice when you stop. And that's friction. It's going to push people away. Some people will adjust, some people won't. That's information, not failure. Just move on. Get new friends. You probably didn't have anything in common with them anyways. So my first round of this, my first 7.5 years, it took me a while to get to this, but I was performing towards the end when I relapsed. I wasn't being honest with people. And this is why I say honesty is so important. The dishonesty took me out. Let's be honest. The secrets took me out. The people pleasing didn't go away. I got better at hiding it under sobriety language. So I got better at, I'm good. I'm in recovery. I'm working on it. All technically true, but none of it honest. Part of what the relapse cost me was the clarity about what I had been avoiding for the last year in my 7 years. I want to ask you something. When you picture the most likable version of yourself, Is that version sober? If the answer is no, that's not a reason to go and drink today. That's the exact thing worth sitting with. I need to sit with that. The grief of losing the drinking version of yourself is real. It's hard. It's difficult. It's uncomfortable. You're allowed to grieve it. You're allowed to sit with it and be uncomfortable and be sad. You just don't have to go back to it. Recognize that this is temporary. This too shall pass. I'm going to find a version of myself that I like, the true version of myself, and I'm going to become version 2.0 in sobriety. That's what I've come to. I've become a new version through each relapse and each learning curve and each instance in sobriety. Every time I go to a social event sober, I learn more about myself. It's true. I learn about the real me, what drives me, what motivates me, what I need to work on, what bothers me, and why does this bother me? Is this a me problem or a society problem? And it's almost always a me problem. I got to work on this. I don't need to change anybody, nor can I. So what I actually do is I pause before agreeing with people. The automatic yes used to be before my brain registered the question. I would just agree. I would just be whatever you wanted me to be. I'm that guy. Yeah, sure, whatever. What I do now is let me think about it. Can I come back to you? Or sometimes just leaving the silence, using silence as a tool, being okay and comfortable in the silence, being myself, just being able to just sit and allow the silence to be exactly as it is in that moment. This matters because the automatic yes, the automatic people pleasing was doing a lot of the work to prevent me from finding out what I actually wanted. So I'm going to round it out with the honest hard part here. It's the highest risk, highest reward. If you're not in it today, cut this and save it. The thing that nobody says out loud. If you can be agreeable when you're under the influence, anesthetized, you are drunk, high. That's not agreeableness. That's a coping mechanism wearing a personality's clothes. The real me, the one sobriety is still introducing me to, is harder to be around in some ways. There's more friction, there's more opinions, there's more boundary holding, less available. Not everyone's going to like me or like you, and that's okay. You're going to find your people. The more you be authentic, be yourself. The meeting yourself piece is getting sober is supposed to be the gift, and it is. But the part of the gift is a reckoning. You find out which relationships were built on the performance. You find out which ones hold when the performance stops. Who my true friends are and who aren't. People that are sticking with me and people who are fair weather friends or bar friends, drinking buddies. The relationships that survive are better. They're stronger. But the ones that don't are still losses. It feels like a loss, and that's tough, and that's okay. So all this to be said that this is not an episode where I tell you it gets easier and everyone loves the real you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. What I can tell you is that the version of me that's showing up now, today, the one with opinions and pauses and the occasional no, that's the version that's actually here. The other ones were just passing through. So this is the true version that's here now. The other ones were just passing through, where they were masks. If sober feels harder to live in right now than the drinking you're not broken. This is a part of the process. It's hard. No, if it wasn't hard, we wouldn't have rehabs. We wouldn't need recovery rooms. People would just stop on their own will and they'd be comfortable in their own skin right away. They wouldn't need therapy. You're just unmedicated for the first time in your life. And that's uncomfortable before it's liberating. The agreeableness you're losing wasn't your personality. It was your armor. It was your onion, your layer of the onion that protected you. Taking it off is supposed to feel exposed. You're supposed to feel vulnerable. That's how you know it's working. I'm still working on this. I'm still finding out about myself. I'm still learning about this process. It's hard. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? So like I said before, when I go out today, I'm learning about myself every single time. I'm learning about people I want to hang out with, the kind of people. This is my friend group today. My friend group today is people that are working on themselves, plain and simple. I want to hang out with people that are working on themselves. That's it. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow the podcast, send it to a friend. Thank you. If no one's told you this yet today, I love you. Recovery is simple, not easy.